Thanks for joining me today for the first, I hope, of many State of the City for the City of Tipton. I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for helping to coordinate this event. This is actually going to be a quarterly activity with the Chamber of Commerce. I'm really excited about this partnership with the Chamber. I really want to invest in these relationships with the business community, and I think this is going to be the conduit in which we do that. So thank the Chamber of Commerce and all the individuals who helped program this day today. Most of them are in the back, but some of them are scattered around at the tables that you're sitting at, so thank them. I also want to thank the city employees who've made the investment of their time to come here today. Thank you all for coming to listen to this. The vision that we're casting for the City of Tipton impacts all of you. We're hoping to achieve a great deal of success, and with that, we want to make the investments into new equipment to make sure that you're performing your job safely and adequately. You can't get beyond benefits and your salaries and payroll. We want to make sure that with that success, that's what's going to enable us to be more competitive with those salaries, and so we don't want to be remiss in mentioning that either. We got some great assets, amenities with our parks and golf course, and I see both of them represented here today, and thank you guys. And that's going to be one of our primary marketing pieces that helps create and attract people to the City of Tipton. So thank you all for coming here today too. For my term, the strategic plan that we're operating with to help promote the success here in the City of Tipton is going to be coined under the phrase Tipton Thrives. So that's what we're trying to create, is a more thriving Tipton here in central Indiana. To begin, we have a brief agenda. I don't want to keep you here too long, but nonetheless, I want to at least expose you to some of the thoughts and ideas, some of the successes that we had in 2024, and then looking at, we already have things programmed for 2025 that are going to happen. They're happening as of today. And so I'll give you a little preview into that, but then also I'll highlight some of the things that we're going to continue to work on to make sure that the City of Tipton is successful into the future. So our agenda today is a recap of 2024, our vision, what we're working to create and succeed, accomplish in Tipton into the future, our strategic priorities as we march forward, and then those opportunities I already talked about for 2025. Thanks for the sound. So again, a recap of 2024. To start out the year, we adjusted our schedule on which we apply for our Community Crossings grant. For those that may not know, this is a grant that's offered by NDOT at the state level. It helps communities reinvest into their road infrastructure. And Tipton has done a fantastic job since it was introduced in 2016. NDOT created or enlarged that grant opportunities to start in 2024, and we took advantage of that. We had dollars already budgeted thanks to the previous council and the clerk treasurer's office, and so we capitalized on that opportunity, which is going to manifest, and we'll talk about that a little later in the 2025 look ahead, but we're going to reconstruct West Street starting from Madison down to South Street, truly creating the best road in the City of Tipton with regard to the road itself, the infrastructure that's beneath, because we're going to impact nearly every utility along the way as we head towards South Street, really creating probably the best street in the City of Tipton. The next is finally, in fact, I had some friends who were doubtful this would happen, but we completed the next phase of the Trails project. It's a project that was started in, I believe, 2022, and thanks to the previous administration, and Steve Raber was a big help and lead on this project, but we finally got that project across the finish line. Frankly, we spent a little more money than we thought we'd need to, but nonetheless, trying to create momentum. And that's what we're trying to do here in the City of Tipton, is create momentum that we are going to not only think about and dream about the things we want to accomplish, but actually scope and accomplish those things to make sure that we're making progress. We started the year with 4 patrolmen down in our police department, and through work and partnership, I see Chief's out here today, and thank him for his leadership in that effort. We got the police department back to full staff within 6 months. We were very aggressive, partnered with our PR team to create some videos to help promote those opportunities, and really have gotten some new staff members, some patrol officers that make me feel encouraged. And I know that's a sentiment within the police department, some guys who really want to step up, take some leadership roles within the department. We did lose one to Westfield this last month, but still feel encouraged as we start 2025 in a better position than we started 2024. The next is, as we closed out 2024, we secured a $2 million bond to invest into this youth baseball project. And we're feeling really encouraged about that, especially the actions that we've taken since securing that $2 million bond. but it's going to allow us to approach that project with a lot of intent and sincerity, some intentional efforts to not only scope the need for these youth facilities in the community, but setting up for future opportunities and expansion as we try to think about what the softball needs might be in the community, what the soccer needs might be in this community, but staying very focused that priority number one remains the baseball facilities. Next with that, a golf course, in fact, taking the highlights here in the 2024 recap. First, I hired Phil Beaver, who's here with us today. He takes over as the golf superintendent at the golf course, and the feedback has been unanimously, the grounds at the golf course have never looked better at Tipton Municipal Golf Course. I want to thank him and his team for that effort. We're excited about 2025, and then as we close out 2025, hiring Micah Voris, who will take over as the director of golf. Micah comes with a really accomplished background as a director of golf in the golf world, brings some business acumen to the position, which we're really excited about. And there's going to be a lot of increased, I would say pressures, but encouragement that we create. The golf course needs to operate as a business. And in any other community, we see golf courses in a for-profit industry. We want to make that same kind of push, encouragement. We want to see that golf course perform. Sure, it is a park amenity, but it doesn't mean that it can't generate revenues to better support the activities in the city of Tipton. So I'm excited about that. And then the last one is creative solutions to improve the park. And again, I see Diana Tomlinson here with us today. We worked together to, we already knew that we were going to resurface the basketball courts as an example, but working with Diana to be creative on how do we upgrade the backboards. You know, while the improvements to the asphalt would have been great, we, as we drove by, wouldn't have seen those. Seeing those backboards with the new acrylic backboards really made a statement to that space that I think provided some encouragement. We saw anecdotally some increased use out of the facility because of it. With that, we're also, through some of our CCMG work, trying to be creative on how are we bidding these projects. We're able to get the pool parking lot paved. That's a project that's been on the list for a while. We were creative in how we got that bid through our CCMG work. Though the grant itself, CCMG didn't pay for it, it allowed us to get a better, more competitive price to get that project accomplished. And then we'll talk about it a little later, so a little sneak peek. But Diana was successful in securing a grant that's going to allow us to invest in the park for some new playground equipment. In fact, probably the largest playground equipment investment we've seen in the park in quite a while. I hope that's true, Diana. That's good. That's at least my statement for today. So to start, I'll back up here. Before I get into our vision for the city of Tipton, one of the big initiatives I undertook that a lot of people didn't quite see until here recently, and I see a couple of our staff members wearing some of the new Tipton swag, is about branding the city of Tipton. And the reason this is important because we need to start sending a message not only internally to the citizens of this community, but externally to our partners within the region, visitors, residents across the state of Indiana, why they need to come to the city of Tipton. Branding is that first opportunity. We need to brand the city of Tipton as a place that people want to visit. And so with that, I'm going to introduce our video for those who haven't seen it, but a branding video to introduce the new branding and color scheme for the city of Tipton.
Welcome to Tipton, a city rooted in opportunities, where fields don't just grow crops, they cultivate community. For generations, hard work, kindness, and innovation have shaped who we are. Today, Tipton is alive with progress, where businesses thrive, ideas grow, and neighbors lend a helping hand. Rooted in tradition, reaching for the future, this is Tipton, where opportunities don't just grow, they flourish. Tipton, rooted in opportunities, growing every day.
As we started that project and hosted some focus groups to discuss with community members, business leaders, staff members of the city of Tipton, one of the primary themes that came out of that was, especially from the business community, people felt encouraged that if they wanted to try an opportunity, start a business in the city of Tipton, they had the support amongst the community members to do such a thing. And we see that so active in the city of Tipton today, joined by some business leaders in this community, and I'd be remiss not to name, but Judy Burton, long-term entrepreneur in the city of Tipton, Kim Satong, another great business leader in our community, and I'm sure many others. But to see even more of those opportunities, whether it's Horton's is a long-standing retailer in the community, Urban Homestead and the Feel Goods are newer opportunity retail spaces. We have the Mad Tap and the Shack who opened up. I see Brad Whitman here with us today. These opportunities people that are made available to them in the city of Tipton, this strong entrepreneur base, is something that, while it's not necessarily unique to the city of Tipton, the idea that we have a long-standing tradition and history of entrepreneurship is something that I think helps make Tipton what it is today, where we see the Omni Electrics of the world, a small operation that started with probably 2 people that has now blossomed into what it is today. The former BRS Mechanical, same probably history, where it started as a very small operation of one individual and again has grown because of the support of this community into what it is today and now being acquired by RT Moore. Those are the successes of the city of Tipton and why we wanted to include that into the new branding for the city of Tipton, because we are a place that is rooted in opportunities. And we make sure to continue to make those available to the entrepreneurs of this community and the citizens of this community. So with that, what are we trying to build here in the city of Tipton? What's the vision? And the vision is to build a thriving and dynamic place to live. We want to invest in those amenities, quality of life initiatives that make life for us who already live here even better, because that's what's going to help keep us here. It's going to help keep our businesses thriving in the city of Tipton. Speaking of businesses, rooted in opportunities, making sure as mayor of the city of Tipton that I'm making the investments, supporting our business leaders, our volunteers across the community to make them successful. Vibrant neighborhoods. And we're hoping to continue to be aggressive with our Board of Works. And I see our 2 Board of Works members here with me today, but making sure that our neighborhoods are safe and clean, that we've got adequate housing throughout the city of Tipton. And then blending, which I think may be one of the more important pieces, making sure we blend the rich history of Tipton, what has got us here today, but then also embracing those new ideas that create a bright future for the city of Tipton. We can't continue to stay in place, because if you're not growing, you're dying. We all know that. So what we're looking for in this vision, what we're going to seek and accomplish, are those successes to make sure that the city of Tipton is thriving. So with that, our strategic priorities as we move forward, and this isn't a comprehensive list, because frankly, I would have a 50-deck slideshow for you, and I know that you guys didn't come here for that. But most importantly, and this isn't in a prioritized list, but I do think the first one is the most important one, which is building a leadership team. And this isn't just me working with my department heads, though that is a very important aspect of the job. This is about you all too, recruiting and partnering with community members, business leaders, because we can't do this alone. The administration can't help build this prosperous future for the city of Tipton alone. We need your help. And that's your first call to action, that we're looking for the opportunities to partner with you all to make sure that we are building a great community, a thriving community here in the city of Tipton. With that, we want to reinvigorate the sense of community pride. And community pride exists. We see it every day, whether it's a call to action on social media that someone needs help, or you yourselves are trying to start a new initiative, a new business. We see that sense of community pride. And it's very alive and well at the school corporation. We know that. But trying to create the sense of pride around community. And when you say Tipton, you hear someone talking about Tipton in the conversation, you yourself get that sense of pride, that I'm from this place, and I want to talk about this place. That's another benefit of the branding. So when we see, or you see, driving south on 31, you see Tipton rooted in opportunities, you have an opportunity to begin a conversation about that. So we're going to be creative on how we reinvigorate this sense of community pride, but nonetheless, it's a strategic priority because we want people to feel proud of where they're from. Because I'm certainly proud, though I'm not a native to the city of Tipton, moved here a decade ago, really proud and excited about this place and the future that it holds in central Indiana. Last year in August, the council supported the initiative to start or to launch the Tipton Arts Commission. And I tell you, the momentum that they've already built in the last 6 months has been really encouraging and something we're going to continue to invest in. Arts has a way of creating not only beautification of our community, we see it live and well with our concerts in the park, our downtown activities, We have the TCT, the Tipton Community Theater, that's been incredibly successful in its decades-long history, but also has an opportunity to create economic impact. And we know this, and forgive me, I'm going to mention them, Carmel, Indiana. So in Mayor Brainerd's farewell address last year, he mentioned that Carmel, and again, I'm not suggesting that Tipton's Carmel, calm. But Carmel generates $40 million in economic impact directly attributed to the arts in their community. Now again, certainly we're not going to compete on that kind of scale, but looking to see what Madison, Indiana has done, a community that we could identify with, a smaller community in the south side of the state, really invested in its arts community and has built economic impact in its downtown because of it. We see it alive and well in Warsaw and Wabash, Indiana. So we're seeing, and in fact, just this last year, attended a ribbon cutting in Gas City. They did a ribbon cutting for their Performance Arts Center, a phenomenal, a really impressive facility in Gas City, Indiana. So making that intentional investment into the arts, not only to beautify the spaces, but to create economic impact. And the economic impact creates tax revenue that then we can invest back into this community to improve quality of life and making sure we got competitive wages and benefits for our employees. Pursuing creative economic development. As a small community, we have a lot of hurdles to overcome, and especially being located so close to the aforementioned Carmel, Indiana, Noblesville, Westfield, Fishers. Those communities have figured it out over the last three decades. And so what that does is create an increased sense of competition for communities like Tipton, Elwood, Frankfort, where we're trying to achieve our own level of success, though it doesn't match quite what they're achieving down there. But yet we want to see the same opportunities, a beautiful and revived, rehabilitated downtown, active parks, trail networks. We want to see our equipment in the city of Tipton invested in. We want to attract new talent and make sure that our police department and fire departments are fully staffed and adequately equipped so they can perform their job appropriately, safely. But to do that, we got to be creative. And so with that, we're going to, and just this last year, set up, and again, I give kudos to the former administration who set up the first TIF districts in the city of Tipton. TIF is going to be one of those resources, tools that we utilize to achieve success into the future. And while TIF may be, some jargon for many of you in this community, it is a resource for economic development for us to achieve success. But with that, making sure that we invest at a historic level into our downtown, making sure that we see these structures, many of which are nearing a point where they either need rehabilitated or torn down. And what I don't want to see is our downtown structures continue to be torn down as we've seen in the past. Moving on to Northgate Industrial Park, being intentional and sophisticated in our approach to Northgate Industrial Park, making sure that people even know that the properties are available for purchase, collaborating with the IEDC to make sure that we connect with them and the prospects that may be available and want to invest in the city of Tipton. And also leveraging the railroad. The railroad is a natural piece of Tipton's history that we have taken for granted, frankly. And so being intentional, connecting with Dane Tate over at Norfolk Southern, making sure that we have those relationships, investing in the railroad to make sure that they're bringing proper and sophisticated economic development prospects for us to continue to be successful. And again, I said this is not a prioritized list. And with that, I want to point out public safety. Certainly a prioritized list wouldn't be at the bottom of the list because without them, we can't be a great community that's thriving. One of the greatest benefits, and again, we heard this in our focus groups, or the branding, that people really cherished and celebrated and supported as an aspect of Tipton, is that we are a safe community. A community we felt encouraged or maybe just felt comfortable sending our kids out on their bikes or with friends walking on the sidewalks to the park. I see it on West Street, Northwest Street, kids actively walking to the pool during the summer. That's an aspect of Tipton that I think we need to continue to cherish, support, and make the proper investments into our police department to make sure that we continue that. We want Tipton to forever be that community you feel safe, where your kids can actively go out into the community and enjoy life, just like many of us did when we were kids. And then with that is the fire department as well, another piece of the public safety realm. And with the introduction of EMS in 2024, continuing that success with EMS within the department, but also the fire department to make sure that we're, again, investing in proper equipment to make sure that they can do their job properly, efficiently, and safely. And then the last one is high quality infrastructure. And I see our utility, Jim Ankrum and Scott Reeser with us today. Making sure that we're continuing that partnership with TMU, making sure that our investments in the utilities is one that provides an environment that people want to live. We see all the news where communities have failing infrastructure and what that means for them. And thankfully, we've already got a great team that's been in existence for a very long time. But they've made the adequate investments and in fact, continuing as we see this project connecting 28 or 31 rather with the City of Tipton, those type of investments set us up for success into the future. But another piece of infrastructure is also the road work that we see in the city. And again, we've done a great job making those investments year after year into the roads inside the City of Tipton. But as we look into the future, being more creative like we're going to be on West Street, adding not only just a road with improved infrastructure, but then also an urban trail along with it. So we can continue to make these connections around the City of Tipton. So it provides another amenity, yet provided to us with 80% money from the state of Indiana, tax dollars that we've already paid for, but reinvested into your community rather than some other community in another city in the state of Indiana. And then to talk a little bit about branding, because I want to identify this one specifically, because I do think it is going to be very important as we look back into how we got where we are in the future. The first is we are going to make an investment into a new city website. Frankly, we know, and maybe many of you do, maybe you don't, but certainly as I have opportunities to chat with people who are not from Tipton who visit our website, we know it's not the greatest first impression for the City of Tipton. So we want to make that a sophisticated, modern introduction to the City of Tipton, and that only happens with a new city website. So we're going to make those investments. This is another call to action to members in the community, both on the internal and external marketing. Internal marketing, what does that mean? Again, as we try to create this sense of community pride or reinvigorate the sense of community pride, this only happens if we send messages to you all, community members, reminding us why Tipton is so great. Because it is a great place to grow up, to be raised, to run a business, to volunteer. And so we're going to intentionally create marketing materials that encourage or remind us why Tipton is a great place to live, work, and play. Some of those are going to be some testimonials, and here's your call to action. What we're looking for is individuals who want to tell us why you love the City of Tipton, why you love this place that you've either raised your kids, you've been raised, you've operated a business, you volunteer. We're going to be launching that effort actually pretty soon. So if you feel encouraged to want to provide that kind of testimonial, we want to encourage you to reach out to our office so we can capture your story and help tell it across the state of Indiana. The next is going to be external, as I just said. We want to send that message not only to the folks who live within the borders of Tipton County, but outside. That's been one of our greatest weaknesses as a community, having the opportunity to chat with people across the state of Indiana and meeting individuals in Hamilton County and telling them where I'm from. And some, not all of them, and not the majority of them, but occasionally you get the question of, oh, where's Tipton at? Just directly north of you, less than 20 minutes. That is Tipton's story. We haven't done our job of promoting and telling people where we are, what we have to offer, why they should come shop in the City of Tipton, why they should come visit our parks and our golf course, why they should come do business in the City of Tipton. And that's what we hope to address and fix with the new branding effort and marketing strategies. Now, as we look into 2025, the first, and again, this is a project we've known about and have done some work and some strategy around in 2024, but is to make investments in our public safety building. One of the first actions, in fact, that I took in 2024 was to conduct a feasibility study on the facility. And though both the chiefs have been through this process before, I appreciate their willingness to engage in this yet again. What we did was scope, understanding what is the total need within public safety in their facilities. Because what we learned, or at least I learned, was that the staff within the department, since the buildings were built in the early 90s, both of their staffs have doubled in size, yet still operating in the same spaces that they were operating in the early 90s. So we know the spaces are inadequate to service their needs, to provide a professional environment for them to conduct their work safely. And as training, I think, has become even more important since the early 90s, certainly that's true, making sure that they've got the space to conduct that training appropriately so they have the most modern best practices and then also understand not only do they have the equipment to do the job, but they've actually practiced with the equipment to make sure that they can do that safely. So with that, we know we can't engage in the big project in 2025. But what we do have are remaining general obligation dollars that were secured back in 2022, and we're going to be very intentional about investing the remainder of those dollars into the public safety building to make sure we address at least the critical needs within the facility. Those investments will happen in 2025. We're working currently on a bid packet to get those improvements out to bid so we can get those accomplished and completed in this fiscal year. The next, as I've alluded to several times, and is a project, frankly, I'm excited about, which is the reconstruction of West Street. That is a significant project for the city of Tipton. I think a project that maybe total $2 million or close to. That's a project that require collaboration not only from the Municipal Services Department in the City of Tipton, but also the utilities. And to the point of the utilities, it's easy just to say the utilities, but between water, wastewater, electric, understanding that there's a lot of departments within just the utilities. So I'm really excited and encouraged by their cooperation and partnership on this project. And it's really going to create a fantastic project, and excited about the extension of the trail because it does marry up with the recent Phase 2 trail project in the City of Tipton. Kicking off the downtown redevelopment efforts, we've been scoping a project to really address, I think on a larger scale than we've been entertained before, addressing the downtown needs from a historic rehabilitation perspective. We have properties, as I mentioned before, that are in a state that if we don't address them soon, then we will lose them. And one of the key factors I think that attracts people, visitors to the city of Tipton is that old historic charm. It's what makes county seats so unique in the state of Indiana, but it's one that we're going to lose if we don't act quickly. And it's a project, an effort that I plan to kick off. In fact, there's already wheels in motion to this effect, but making sure that we make some historic investments into our downtown. We've got to have a thriving heart of the community if we hope to see any other aspect of this community thrive. So we hope that this project will send ripple effects into our neighborhoods, into our commercial properties around the city of Tipton, and then also in industrial parks. We think that this ripple effect can create momentum that will send us on a trajectory that, frankly, is quite exciting to think about and to plan for into the future. The largest playground investment since, I think, the early 90s. The piece of equipment we're looking to replace is the blue and orange, and it's probably such a small town thing to be able to say that, because I say an orange and blue piece of equipment, you all probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But because of Diana's hard work, identifying the grant, securing the grant, and working with the individual for the playground equipment, we're going to make a large investment. And those are, sort of see it from where you're sitting, but that is an actual rendering of the piece of equipment. Some components of this that we're really excited about is the ADA accessibility components of it. I think that's been one of our aspirations in the park, is to provide more of those amenities to the community, and this helps us accomplish that. We provide equipment that not only can range in ages that can participate with the playground equipment, but provides accessibility. So all abilities can engage with this equipment at the city park. We're currently doing some renovations at the golf course. And again, this is all part of a bigger strategy that we want to see this golf course operate like a business. To do that with its current environment, frankly, wouldn't be successful. If we just slapped some new branding, we changed some prices or some gimmicks, but yet you still have the same environment. Some of you as business leaders, you tell me how successful that would be. It wouldn't be. So we're making the proper investments, making sure that we invest in the things that are necessary to make it operate like a business, so it can be successful like a business. And I would say that we're probably going to do a grand reopening sometime when that work is completed. There's a whole lot of excitement from the staff at the golf course related to this, so that's going to be a real exciting opportunity as we head into golf season. The next is an idea that we've talked about in this community for a long time. And the city of Tipton has secured a grant writer for the entirety of 2025, and I suspect will be beyond that. The idea here is because we're a small community, a rural community, we don't have the fiscal resources that you see in many other larger communities in the state of Indiana, which means we've got to be intentional. We have to leverage the monies that are available to us, either at the local level, the regional level, state level, or federal level. And this only happens if we increase capacity. While, for example, Diana was successful I hate to keep calling you out, Diana, because I feel like I keep getting you in trouble, but Diana was successful last year in securing a grant, but frankly, there's a lot of grants available for Parks and Rec, and what I want to do is enable her to dream about the things that she wants to accomplish. Rather than saying focus on just a singular project, Diana could be thinking about a multitude of projects. And we, as the City of Tipton, securing this grant writer, have potentially addressed the biggest problem or bottleneck that she might have, which is figuring out and securing the dollars. But it's not just parks. The grant writer is also going to be targeting projects for the Tipton Arts Commission. Also, we'll be addressing, there's a lot of public safety grants out there that we've become aware of, and addressing and tackling those. And any other aspects, whether economic development, community development in the City of Tipton, historic preservation, all things that we've got a high degree of interest in, but yet need the enabling factors of grant money to make a reality. And the last one for now is we're continuing to work on a large announcement for the baseball project. We don't have any timelines associated with this at the moment, but I can tell you we've got a really great team working on this that today includes people such as the youth baseball leagues, youth soccer leagues, youth softball leagues, the school corporation, and have felt really encouraged as we continue on this project heading into summer that we've got the right people around the table having the right kind of discussions, and we've got the $2 million ready to be invested. We've set up a statutory park board, which now enables us to apply, again, a grant that I'm going to mention, but the land water conservation grant. All those things have been very strategic and intentional so we can get ourselves in a position to be competitive. And that's what Tipton is going to continue to seek and secure as we move forward, is being intentional, being strategic in our efforts to make sure that we're not throwing good money after bad, but instead leveraging the dollars that we've got available to us with other opportunities to be successful. So that concludes today's State of the City address. I'm incredibly excited about 2024 or 2025, encouraged by the efforts of 2024 as we head into the new year. We've got a great team that we're building, and again, I want to make another call out. If you yourself feel passionate about the City of Tipton or Tipton County and you want to contribute to the trajectory, the strategy that we're developing, please reach out. What we want to create is a community-based team that's helping to push this community forward. Because what we're hoping to do is accomplish things that the City of Tipton has never accomplished before. But to do that, we've got to do things that we've never done before. And sometimes that could be concerning, alarming. But yet, we want to create the team that wants to feel encouraged. Encouraged to explore the things that we've never done before. Because it's the only way that we're going to achieve the things that we've never achieved before. Thank you all.